Hey everyone, hope everybody is doing well. It's been a while. I've made a video up here. Look, folks, we're living in very strange and wacky times. I can't tell you we're living in good times or horrible times, but it's really strange and wacky. Certainly not the way we used to live, especially back in the 20th century. It's just a lot of things are kind of wacky. Prices, especially now with gasoline, weather, store closures, the list goes on. Okay. And I just want some sanity back to our society because a lot of things have been getting more and more cuckoo since the turn of the century. When you go back all the way to the events of 9/11, the financial crisis, COVID, the list goes on. So as you know, today, as of Thursday, Las Vegas broke all-time record high temperatures for the month of March. We hit 95 degrees. Now, we may hit higher than that. Likely will be 97. I don't know about 100. They said it was probably going to be 100. But we are going to hit 97 degrees, very likely. The first time forever for the month of March. The previous record for March was 92 degrees. Okay, and I believe we hit that in 2007 or probably in 2022. I'm not sure. But the thing is, the all-time record high for April was 98 degrees. So if we break 100 degrees, we also didn't hit 100 degrees in April as well. Remember, we have 6 months of relatively cool or not so warm weather. So this is getting really, really strange because my question is, we didn't have much of any winter. The winter we had was pathetic. I mean, sure, we had some cold nights, but it was nothing compared to the last several winters we had. We're thinking about what's going to happen next month. Could we hit our first 100-degree temperature for April? Could we hit 110 for May? 120 for June? 125 for July? Where is this really headed? This is some really scary, frightening stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and this is just happening all over the western United States. I looked at the forecast for some of the plain states. They're getting some 80s. Texas has had a lot of days in the 100s. Places like Denver, Salt Lake City, Reno have plenty of temperatures out in the 80s. It's just been reported that I think it was Yuma or Palm Springs just hit 110 degrees. Phoenix got up to 105. This is some really, really scary stuff. And in Southern California, not too from the coast, parts of Orange County hit 95 degrees. San Jose hit 91 degrees. This is some really scary, frightening things that's going on. Now, remember, about 2 years ago in that summer, we hit all-time record high temperatures. I think it was 118, 119 here in Las Vegas. Never hit those temperatures. Probably some areas got 120, but my phone said it was 117. After 2025, last year, we barely had any summer. In fact, we had some nights got into the low 70s or upper 60s, kind of like the temperatures we had last winter. But remember, 2023, that was a pretty intense, long winter we had for Las Vegas, and we didn't have our first 100-degree temperature until June 30th or I believe July 1st of that particular year. So what do you think is really going on? It's just really scary right now, folks. It makes you feel like, well, maybe there's some scary computer controlling the weather, controlling the atmosphere, the jet stream, all these different things. This is why a lot of people believe there's something strange going on with all these jets that's roaming all over us and changing the sky and the clouds and everything. It's just some really, really scary things that's going on. What do you think is going on? But another thing I wanted to talk about is the closure of Saks Fifth Avenue that's going on, that's in the list. The second round of closures that are happening for that company. It's going to be going on in Fashion Show Mall, just steps away from where I live right here. It makes you really think, well, Saks Fifth has really closed a lot of their stores from the turn of the century. Now, if you don't know, that Saks Fifth Avenue has been in Fashion Show since 1981. I believe Neiman Marcus as well. They did change their locations, obviously, because they remodeled that mall in 2003. But they've been closing their stores. I mean, they had a large amount of closures in 2010. That include the Mission Viejo store, steps of where I used to live in Laguna Niguel. If you guys follow this channel, I used to live out there, hence the green background I used to have in some of the videos. But it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. And they really shot themselves in the foot when Neiman Marcus was having problems in 2022 because after the fallout of COVID. Now remember, those companies merged. They got gobbled up and destroyed by private equity. Neiman Marcus closed some of their stores in 2021. And then what private equity does is they try to raise a lot of debt to improve the company, but in reality, they can't pay it back. They liquidate the company. The whatever shareholders, the executives, they absorb a lot of the gains. They basically suck it dry, kind of like all these strip properties behind me. And as a result, in order to liquidate all the debt, they have to sell the stores. And it's not just Fashion Show Mall they're doing that. They're actually going to keep the Neiman Marcus in Fashion Show Mall. I think it's because it's in such a prime location across the street from the Wynn. I think it would look so bad. But they're closing all over the country. I mean, there's only going to be a handful of Saks stores left. And they're closing Neiman Marcus stores. So as you know, they are closing the Saks stores in essentially parts of Florida, New Orleans, Birmingham. You go down the list, Chicago, Phoenix. They're closing one in Orange County again, South Coast Plaza, believe it or not. They're closing one in Palm Desert. The list just pretty much goes on. It's very scary, folks. This is going to have a significant ripple effect. And I was at both stores during the holiday season, here and in Orange County, and they weren't dead. They had a good amount of people. So my mom tells me that it's not that they're having really a lack of customers so much, it's because they're having serious debt issues. And this is what, look, private equity is really the cancer of this country. However, I don't believe they are the main cause of rising home prices and rents in America. I think it's a lot more complex than that, which I'll talk about in another video. But what this is going to really do, I believe, is it's going to leave a scar on the strip. And likely that store is going to empty out, just like Forever 21. They're not likely going to find another buyer or another tenant that wants to move in. And God knows what's going to happen, folks. It's going to make that mall look really, really bad. In fact, frankly, it's going to affect a lot of the other stores that's going to be inside the mall. The malls all across America. So this is where we're really headed to, because this is going to make people less likely want to go to the mall, go to other places to shop. Okay. By the way, all other brick and mortar stores are doing better, believe it or not. They actually opened new brick and mortar stores where the Hawaiian Marketplace used to be on the south end of the strip. But what this is going to do, it's going to keep people more isolated. Because I've noticed a lot of 20-something-year-olds, they're not going out like they used to. I mean, you barely even see them in normal places like gas stations and supermarkets. It's very sad. It's almost like they're just not driving. They're just relying on their parents or whatever. People got to get out more, folks. And I know a lot of you want to just blame online shopping, e-commerce, all this other whatever. Folks, yes, it had something to do with it, but we don't want to talk about the lowlifes, the bums, the theft, the lack of prosecution. You talk about the rising rents, the lower customer service, the dingy environments. I mean, that's what really hurts Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, all these other stores. You talk about the urban planning. People just don't want to drive to an ugly box. So maybe if we had better ways to get to access the mall, I think things would be totally different. You make them more mixed use. Basically, when I would go to a Saks, it wasn't really dead, folks. And when you go to those stores, that's the kind of store you really want to try and look and see the item rather than ordering it online. Because I wouldn't want porch pirates to come and take my stuff that I order from Saks and Neiman Marcus, believe it or not, folks. This is fundamentally just not going to work. And I mean, where are we really headed with all this, folks? This is some really scary stuff. But what I just wanted to say is it's just saddening, folks. It's just we're really literally living in Twilight Zone, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where this is going to go. But here's the fundamental thing. What's going to be next for Fashion Show Mall? And to top off the idea that this is mainly e-commerce, we'll go to the shopping malls in Mexico. They're thriving. I've been to Tijuana, one shopping mall. It was doing pretty well. They're expanding in a lot of parts of the world. When I went to the Philippines, the first day I landed, I went to a shopping mall, one of the world's largest shopping malls. Very high occupancy. It was pretty busy, folks. It was no joke. Maybe there's just a lot of things that we're doing wrong in this part of the world. They blame electronics, why dating is messed up, why kids are not playing outside, yet outcomes are much different around the world. But this is sad. We're losing our places where we usually hang out. And we've got to find good replacements. We can't just stay at home. Isolation delivers a lot of problems, folks. The phone was not meant to replace face-to-face communications. These apps that we use are supposed to transfer information and ideas that the legacy media through television, magazines, newspapers, or whatever could not do as effectively. So it's not the device, it's how we use it. It's all self-control. I live across the street from 3 casinos, but I don't gamble. And I don't plan on doing it anytime soon because I have self-control. I rarely drink. Think about it. But we need to figure out what's really behind a lot of these problems and how we can solve it. So I don't know what you guys think. Should we hold private equity accountable? Thank you guys so much. Great pleasure.